Welcome to the spot. It's time to ignite. Oh yeah. Operation Hangout. The feeling's just right. Chilling with the crew. We're ready to groove. Opinions flying high. Come on, let's move. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Pull up a chair, let's get in the zone. Voices blend and smooth, like a funky trombone. Oh yeah. Topics from the heart, making us think. With a twist and a shout, raise up your drink. Cheers! Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Bring it down, shake it up, feel the beat. With every word we share, the circle's complete. Living loud, think it proud, that's what we do. Oh yeah. Join the club, come on through, we're waiting for you. Alright. Hang out, all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Hang out.
What is going on, everybody? We're back at it. When I'm live, another stream. You know where you're at. You're at Spartan SU Network. I am the host, the Spartan, aka Peter. How is everybody doing tonight? Well, unfortunately, this Spartan is sick, but I got to do the show. We got, the show must go on, like they say. I kind of want to strangle whoever said that, but let's get this little UK midget in here.
How you doing, old man?
What is going on, my man? How are you tonight?
Yeah, pretty good. Part of my
All right,
headache.
before we get into the show, before we start bullshitting a little bit, you know how we like to bullshit before. Let's get over the worst part of the show, bad news. As always, I hate being in a network sometimes because you have to deliver the bad news. So let's start with on the 4th. David Minner, I cannot pronounce his name. I do apologize. He was a famous X gamer BMXer. He deleted himself this week. Tragic, guys. If anybody's thinking of hurting themselves or doing anything, please contact somebody. It's not worth doing that. It's
There's
really
some
not worth
out
it.
there.
I'm sorry.
There is in America and the UK. They're called Samaritans, and they do a good job. All they do is they just listen. All you have to do is phone them up.
Yeah, it's a suicide line. Please contact the suicide line, guys. So the second bad news. This one actually hurts me more than anything. I'm a big fan of Three Door Down, and I know. I mean, you were talking backstage. You said you're not familiar with Three Doors Down.
No.
Three Door Down is to me a very iconic band, and I was literally talking to somebody the other day. I mean, like, wow, they haven't made a new album. Unfortunately, the lead singer, I believe, I'm not sure which role he played. Um, he ended up passing at 47 from cancer. Unfortunately,
Oh,
he
yeah.
had stage 4. Doesn't the article doesn't say what stage exact? What typical cancer? Yeah, they didn't say what kind of cancer he had actually. The article I'm looking at right now, but unfortunately, to me, one of the best bands. I'm not gonna sit there and lie to you guys. I think it's a great band. You guys know my mom's fighting this, so to me, this is hits home for me. It hits home for me very hard. Anyway, let's get to the show. We are talking about PC gaming, computer games. Are they dying or they're trending? What do you think, Greg?
PC games are trendy. A lot of people are going over to PC games.
Okay, why do you think that?
Well, PC gaming? Please don't do that. Yeah. PC gaming? Um, because they're a lot better than Xbox and PlayStation.
I'm going to respectfully disagree. Before we
Um,
go, Anton, I'd send you the link in your email. Please go check it out. If you want to join us, the platform is open for you. Go ahead.
yeah, because the difference is between them, you can upgrade the graphics so much, and you can adjust what you want. Oh, God. No one can hear that. No one
Mr.
can hear
President, how you doing tonight?
I'm pretty beat up, but it's training day, so I'm never good coming into these things, especially at the end of the day. But
Yeah.
I'll be better later.
Trust me, I'm a little beat up myself today.
three of us.
Greg, finish what you're going to say, and I'll have Paul comment to this.
Well, yeah, because with the graphics, you can upgrade it as much as you like. You can literally shove the latest fucking GPU into it, and you can have the highest graphics you want on it. Yeah, and you can have the better quality than you can get on an Xbox and a PlayStation.
You seen the graphics, lady, bro? Have you seen the graphics on a PlayStation and Xbox? Before I even get in an argument with you, we're gonna get into it tonight. I already know it. Paul, old school gamer. I know you were a PC gamer at one time, right? You told me.
Yeah.
Take me down memory lane for a minute. What's your opinion about PC games back in the day? And I know you're not too much into gaming, but I know you're into the tech stuff at least. What's your opinion about present to past?
All right. Well, first of all, before I start, just want to give a happy birthday shout out to Mariana, who's in the building tonight. So I just want
I
to
forgot.
acknowledge her. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
Mariana. And I think that it goes back to prior to video gaming as far as like entertainment. I think the computer games occupied a different niche, a different space. You basically had thinking games. I mean, if there used to be a line between video games and computer games in that computer games offered a different type of stimulus. It was meant to get you to think. So you would have some of the simpler games back in the day, like chess or checkers or word puzzles or simulators. The idea wasn't to wow you with graphics per se, but it was about problem solving, math problems. Again, for a different type of audience, maybe for a mature audience. I think computer games were also targeted towards serious adults who wanted a different type of stimulation rather than just shooting up, bad guys and aliens and stuff like that. It offered, someone who looked at themselves as a bit more mature and not necessarily for the kid stuff, more challenging stimulation. So I think that was like the early part of computer games, and that they gave you that. If you remember, like war games, for example, the game there, like tic-tac-toe, or some of these simulators where you would. In fact, I remember when I was in high school, the first games we played were computer games, in that they were simulators. Like there was one where you had to run a campaign for an election, so like you were running for president. And you were given a certain amount of resources. You had to go and uh, um, answer questions at certain issues in certain regions of the country. And at the end of the day, it would calculate whether or not your pitch was good enough to win the presidential election. If it did, then it did this musical thing or whatever, and congratulations or whatever, or you didn't. But again, it was based on, testing your intelligence, or trying to get into the mind of the whoever the creator of the game was, what they set as the limits or the goals of the game. So I think a lot of those games were like that early on. Obviously, with computer processing power, especially once you started to come out with like the Intel chips in the early to mid '80s, and then into the late '80s and '90s, when graphics really started coming on board. When Intel, in fact, I worked at Intel shortly after they started creating a lot of these video processors that allow for DGI video and a lot of that. Then I think that really changed a lot of what computer games could offer, away from, and even though you still had your sort of brain stimulation type of games, but just with the increasing processing power, the creation of video cards, and that integration of just more processing power. I think Craig maybe alluded to it earlier, that then you could really start to customize. So, based on your CPU, based on your RAM, based on your video card, that certainly greatly improved your gaming experience. And you could see it in real time, in that, let's say if you went from, say, a 386 processor back then to a 486 Intel 486 processor, you would see the graphics, like, as you play the game. They were smoother, they were faster, they were more robust. You didn't have as many jitters to them. Or if you increased your RAM from then 2 megabytes to 4, or from 4 megabytes to 8, you would see that play out in the gameplay. In that, and then that became like an ever increasing capacity for the computers, where they can really start to rival some of the arcade games. I think another breakthrough was when the Mac came out, Apple Macintosh computer. This was back in 88, 87, 88. They really broke ground in that they started to offer MIDI cards. So you had real music processing, or a MIDI music processing, real life sort of graphics, more smooth graphics. But that was, again, part to the MC 68000 computer chip that came out that was used in the Apple, and that was, I think, based on a RISC processor that was used at Sun Microsystems and other platforms. So it really started. So again, a lot of the gameplay and quality really started to advance with a lot of these games, and there were a lot of those video games in the late '80s into the early '90s that had very much surpassed, in my view, what was being offered even by that time. The major gaming console, the one that really took over, was the NES. It came out in the U.S. in '85. And I thought computer games, as far as graphically, I thought they really started to overcome the NES platform at that time. But a lot of people still went with the NES because of, again, the games that were available. So again, if you wanted to play Mario, if you wanted to play certain franchises, were married to a lot of the major consoles. You had ColecoVision. You had like I said, the Nintendo NES, Sega Genesis, or whatnot. A lot of the titles that were coming up, especially in the sporting game concept, were really tied to a lot of those consoles. So a lot of the computer games, where they started to fall back, was that they didn't have the licensing to some of those games, and there you couldn't simulate a lot of the play of those games. A lot of the computer games back then, or the football games, they were like X's and O's, and basically it was about you picking strategy, and they would run a simulator based on what you picked. But you didn't have the control over the gaming play itself. You didn't have control over the players. You didn't have control over the moves that you did. It was just you pick a play, and let's say if you're playing against a computer, they would pick a play, and then you would run and see what the result would be. And that was the thing. Or if you were even playing with another player, it was basically your play versus his. The computer would basically play for you what play was the best at that point. So,
They
I'm
had
sorry,
that.
what was that?
So they had American. They had that in American football on PS1. My dad used to have the games. I was sitting there playing with them.
Right, right, right.
That was pretty good. That was.
Right, right. So again, as far as like gameplay, it really wasn't the same as the more action reaction that a gaming console would give you. But like I said, I think overall, I think they were for an audience. I think now I don't think there's really any difference outside of licensing between a game that's offered on a computer versus a game that's offered on a gaming console. As far as the capacity, the graphics, the CPUs, I mean, certainly you can build a system that's probably very similar, if not superior, to even like a PS5 now if you have get the right components and make it work. So I think that gap has certainly closed. But for years, though, I think the computer specific space, and I just got a message about my connection. So if I lose you guys in a minute, I'll be back. I may have to reconnect at some point. But the idea, in fact, let me just do a real quick change here.
This weather's really kicking us ass up here in the United States. It's cold.
Yeah, I've been having problems over here with the internet.
Yeah, the weather's been so cold. But till Paul gets back, let's up. Damn, that was fast.
I think I'm trying to come back. There we go.
Yeah, that's what I said. Damn, yeah,
no, because I switched out, so it came back.
Pete, we
But
should Paul come back.
Yeah, but I think two games that just to kind of as I wrap up this point, again, two types of games that I thought were really instrumental, I guess, in computer game success back in the day. You talk about, again, late 80s, early 90s, when you started to have better processing and whatnot. They had a lot of simulators. So, for example, SimCity was a computer game franchise that existed for a while, but you involved like city planning. Okay, so like you're the mayor of the city or whatever, or how do you build bridges, you build roads, you build infrastructure and whatnot, and it gets to play out. So based on the decisions that you made, the computer then spits out what the result of that is. Do you alleviate traffic congestion? Do you improve overall economies and things of that nature? So again, that something like that would appeal to an older person, especially back then. I think now people are more comfortable being in their 40s or even their 50s and still being kind of like, being in their kid mode. I don't think people judge you as much for it. But back then, if you were 40 years old and people saw you playing video games, unless it was with your children or something like that, people would look at you kind of funny. So again, those type of games gave you an opportunity to do more real life type of problem solving situations. Another type of simulator was I think it was a flight simulator, where basically you would have the controls of like a particular aircraft, whether it be a helicopter or a plane, and the controls or whatnot would mimic that of a real plane, and you would have to essentially kind of go through it, very similar to what I guess pilots go through when they're training to be pilots, go through those simulators. A lot of those early flight simulator games kind of gave you a similar experience. Mm-hmm. And so again, less on the action and the explosions and the speed and all that kind of stuff, much more problem solving, much more brain tease type of functions, crossword puzzle type of things, word, and a lot of those games even now, like the games that some of the games that I have on my phone, they kind of still follow that format. Games that help you get smarter by challenging you in terms of increasing your vocabulary or your spelling or things like that. Yeah, flight simulator, absolutely. So I think that was a space. I don't know where it is now, because quite frankly, whether it be computer games or arcade games, I don't have time for a lot of it. It's basically games I play on my phone, which typically are more. But I have both. I have games like for example, Solitaire, right? I mean, or back then, Mahjong was a great, that the game with the removing the tiles and everything. Again, those were kind of they really tested your your ability to solve puzzles. And hopefully you got smarter by doing that. It taught you a way to think in certain ways. So
Zelda
that's
was a great example to that too.
yeah.
You
What's
had a
that?
lot of puzzle. Zelda, the game Zelda. I know you played Zelda at one point in your life.
No, I did not. I did not. But
Oh, really?
I'm familiar with the franchise, but I never
Okay,
played the.
so in Zelda, I'm surprised Eric's not in here yet. Zelda, in the game, it has a lot. I mean, a lot of puzzles. You have to do a puzzle to get a weapon or get into the next room. So
Yeah.
you had to go a certain pattern or put this block away or use a weapon to you get the idea.
Yeah.
It's a puzzle, so it makes you think. That's something I
Mhm.
liked about it. Now going to, I agree with you 100%. The most part, saying back in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, it was a huge difference with graphics from PC versus console. Absolutely, I'm not denying that. But today, the graphics are the to the naked eye, you couldn't tell the difference. So I'm gonna pull a
Right.
trick out of your bag, Paul, because you like a lot of scale. So I'm gonna pop a scale I found here really fast.
Mhm.
So these are the scales. All right. This is an Xbox current Xbox system, PS5, PS5 Pro, RX RTX and RTX one and random. So if you see the numbers are not that much off
Right.
from the except this is the first, without the pro version. All right.
Mhm.
So graphics in a naked eye, as much yes, you can adjust the graphics as much as you want. Greg's 100% of that. But are you going to see that in a naked eye?
Probably
Let's
not.
ask that question.
No. No.
Not unless you
It-
have a high refresh rate screen.
okay. But this monitor I'm on right now and my 8K TV, keyword 8K, my 85, both are 8K. And you still don't, you really,
You can
when
have
you,
a 4K machine or sorry, a 8K or 4K TV running at 60
Mhm.
hertz, but it's a high refresh rate screen you need.
both are high ref. And I'm telling you, bro, playing on these, you barely can see it. And this monitor is supposed to be a gaming monitor. And when you're playing it, your eye doesn't recognize it. It really
Um,
does not. That's why people are saying always, "Oh, there's no major change from year to year to year from from systems anymore," because our eyes is so adjusted to the graphics at this point.
Mhm.
Think about it. When you went from if you look from PS2, PS1 to PS5, yes, you see a difference. But if you go from PS1 to PS2, you don't see really too much. From PS2 to PS3, same thing. From PS3 to PS4, same thing. PS4 to PS5, the graphics that you really can't. Your eyes is adapt pretty much.
yeah,
Does that make sense? What I'm saying to you guys?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Where I do see the difference in graphics is I would definitely tell you definitely in phone games. Yes, I'm sorry. I tell you there is a huge difference there because obviously our phones are not going to be able to push out what my PlayStation does or my computer does or my Wii and so on. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that is definitely one factor. I will say you cannot push out as much information as you think you can on a phone.
Right.
You only can do so much.
Right.
They overheat over. You can only play what, and 2-3 hours on your phone, and then your phone's overheating most likely.
Yeah. It's not. Like I said, I don't know if it's necessarily meant for that type of immersive experience that a gaming console would give you. But like I said, for the person who is again sort of like in between, you don't want to play. I know for me personally, like, I don't want to play for 2 or 3 hours. Like for me, like I said, especially doing work, I may take again 10, 15 minutes just to kind of get my brain, disconnect a little bit,
Oh yeah, I
take
get
my
it.
mind off something to come back, or from traveling or something like that, or from waiting in an office for an appointment or something, and I'm I'm
It's
able
not for
to
everybody.
play this. Yeah.
The other shows that were done in gaming, and I saw to a long time ago. Paul told you, gaming is not for everybody. For me, those 2-3 hours I play, when I do play, is rare. I disconnect from the world.
Hmm.
It's me disconnecting from the world. I zone in, and it relaxes me, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody has there. You have the gym to relax you, for example.
That doesn't relax me.
Okay.
I think I'm kind of like you in that I think the gaming does help to relax me a little bit, but like I said, I guess I don't need as much of it. I put it that way.
You're
Like I
too
said,
busy.
I would rather take 15-minute breaks, make every 2 or 3 hours. Take a 10, 15-minute break, clear a few levels or do a little something to kind of stimulate the mind and then get back to it. I can't remember the last time I spent, it might have been certainly well before the pandemic, but
Mhm.
I can't remember the last time I spent like an evening gaming. Like and especially since I had the computer, I had the arcade games, the MAME emulator and whatnot. So I was playing a lot of the old video games, arcade games, things like that. That was like the last time like I was really like that because I had nothing else going on, and I just gamed like that. So like I said, it's just not something that I need, but that doesn't mean that I don't need to sort of disconnect, and I'll use gaming to do so. Training, you're definitely not disconnecting from anything. You have to be very connected, and then you don't feel like connecting anything else afterwards. My wife and I, we went out to a diner this afternoon, and I was like a zombie. I said, "Look, you got to drive," because I was so drained from the workout and everything. I felt a little lightheaded from the training, and then when we got back, I had to take a nap for a couple hours just to get myself revived a little bit. So again, training is not therapeutic. It's not a relaxative whatsoever. I put everything into it. I'm wiped at the end. But I only do it a couple times a week. So the rest of the time I'm just trying to cover it. But I think just gaming in general, though, yeah, it is an opportunity just to take away from the seriousness of the moment, get my mind thinking on something else instead of just hammering on something. But I can get back into it. I don't need several hours in a clip in order to do that unless I have absolutely nothing to do, which is very rare.
So that's one. You just said it. You don't have time. You're busy between your three girls, your wife, your dog, everything you've been donated to the network, and the other network channels you've been working with. You don't have time.
No.
Let's be honest with that. And that's one. Before I get into here, the other thing I want to mention, p- uh, phone games can be very, very, very addictive, more than actually console games. It has been proven by studies.
Hmm.
If you go I hate to call him out. I'm not gonna use his name, but a couple of my buddies went down that rabbit hole really deep, and they almost got really addicted to it. They to the point like they literally had to delete all the games off their phones. And they don't put games on their phones for a reason anymore. They will bring their Nintendo Switch with them when they're on vacation or traveling instead, saying, "Listen, I'm between, like, say, the transferring planes. I got my Switch to play with for an hour or two."
Mhm.
Because the nice thing about Switch, it's mobile. They have some now. The mobile handhelds coming back in full force. It's kind of surprisingly, actually,
Mhm.
but it's mobile game is very addictive. But anytime, what's up, my man? How are you?
Welcome,
What's
brother.
going on, Pete? How's it going, Craig?
It's good.
Not
Mr.
much.
Bennett. Good to see you. Not
Yes,
much.
sir.
I had to come on and everything else. And I remember you asked me the question yesterday. Do I think computer gaming is dying? On the traditional PC, you'd be surprised to see some people that still have the traditional games on it. Like what Mr. Bennett was saying, flight simulations and everything else. My wife and I downloaded Microsoft Flight Simulator onto our desktop, and we have the actual
Mhm.
equipment and everything else. We got the yoke, we got the pedals, and everything because my wife's
Hmm.
trained to be a pilot.
Mm.
And the great thing I like about Microsoft Flight Simulator is it gives you a multitude selection of airports to use around the world, whether it's the major ones or even the small regional ones, or even the real small ones that people use for flight lessons and for private jets. You have access to them and an array of different types of aircrafts used to fly anywhere you want to go around the world. Sometimes you can just do flights within that city per se, marks and everything. And one of the cool features that I found out is there's a setup I found where, for example, you can go to Newark Airport and the layout is from 1935.
Oh wow, that's interesting, in my opinion.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
my question is,
like
what's the difference between the consoles and the PC? What can you do on a PC that you can't do on a console?
There's a lot of things you can do on a
um
PC you can't do it on console.
yeah,
Well,
like for example, the setup that the setup, like I think Craig, we talked about it before. I remember the videos that you told me to check out as well.
yeah.
The flight simulators and the truck simulator you were telling me about. You can do
Yep.
that on a PC. You really can't do that with a
Oh
console.
yeah, oh yeah. You can't
Like,
literally.
doing
You
it
can do a
with
full
the
simulator
PC,
setup. Yeah, literally, you can have an entire deck,
right?
right, or an entire room dedicated just for flight simulator or a truck simulator or a racing simulator, right? But you can't do that on a console.
You could. You can get the pedals now and everything connected to them.
Yeah, I
If you
know,
want.
but I'm talking about having it fully set up properly. In other
Oh,
words,
definitely,
having all the
definitely.
screens
And I
around, having all the screens, like having individual ones that are running it as one screen. Yeah.
You cannot do multiple screens, but you can do a one screen, the pedals and all that stuff. Having the 360 screen, no, that's a PC feature
Oh
only.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I like. Why PC gaming is so much more powerful than console. Yeah, you can do literally a full setup. You could have a full truck simulator, right, in your living room or in your spare room, right, and you can have all the buttons and they could all work. The flight simulator, you can have the same. Racing simulator, you can have the same. On console, you can't do that.
Yeah, that I'm not gonna push back. 100% right.
Yeah. And just going back to those older games before, again, the ability to save. I mean, that was definitely something
Oh,
that, again,
God.
with the again, prior to, and again, I don't know what gaming console allowed you to save games. I think Sega Genesis didn't allow you to save games. So you're talking about until the 90s or the, I don't know, it was the 64 or, whenever you were allowed to
if my
do that.
memory suits me correctly, Paul. The original Nintendo you could not save. Super Nintendo you could have.
You could.
Sega Genesis, it
I don't think so.
It depends on the game. Depends on the game, because you're not saving on the console. You're saving on the game, on the because it had a little memory, and it had those like the battery the watch batteries. That was the battery that kept the memory alive. So I'm pretty sure that's what the case was.
Yeah, I don't recall that, at least for the games I remember on the Genesis, because that was the last console that I really kind of got down with, because we're still in college at the time. That was '89, and I remember playing a lot of, and again, saving wasn't an option on most of the games that I recall. But what I do know, but certainly with the PCs, that was like automatic. You could literally save, especially if you're doing those simulators, like I said, SimCity or one of those. Yeah, you definitely want to pause where you were. Because, again, you're basically a city planner, and you could be doing this for weeks, if not months. So you definitely want to kind of save where you left off and then sort of pick it up from that point on. So I think, certainly that was an advantage that the game. Same thing with even when you started to see the three-person games coming out, like, Wolfenstein 3D, and then you had Doom that came out. Then, again, you could save the level that you were at. You didn't necessarily have to kind of start from zero when you when you started playing. So again, a lot of advantages that, again, PCs might have had for a minute, and then consoles had an advantage, and PCs found a way to get it back. In addition to, again, the audience that they were catering to, I think was the reason why PC games were able to survive for certainly that length of time. And like I said, I don't know where the status of it is now with those games, but certainly from what Anton was saying, still Flight Simulator is still a major player in the computer game landscape.
There you go.
This is exactly what I was talking about. This is the same batteries we used to use in our watches back in the day. And that's what the game was.
And that was in the NES.
What happened?
And that was in the NES console.
Yes, at least I was supposed to say, NES console,
yeah. You were saying, Anton?
Also, I think what also helped with the memory saving of games, when Sony came out with the PlayStation, you were able to get memory cards as well. And once you had a
that was
card,
the first of memory cards.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
because when when you just plugged it in and everything else. You had it like right under the base of the disk drive and everything. They always had a designated spot for it. And if I remember for the PlayStation, I think the PlayStation 2, they
Correct.
had memory cards and what you did for whatever particular game that you were playing. If you couldn't hold on to all the information for that particular game you were playing, any additional data or any additional information that you needed was on that memory card. That memory card was designated for whatever games you wanted. And then I think once you start, that's when they start coming with the with the
Yeah,
and
you're
now I
actually
think with the
100% correct on
PS4 and the
time.
PS5, you can get either an external hard drive, you can get either the external hard drive, or
Hold on. Wasn't it the
you can
original
have you can sit
Xbox?
on the cloud or in,
Wasn't it the original Xbox? You could
say
start
again.
saving your games. The original Xbox, the very first one. You could save your games on
Oh,
instead of
God.
PlayStation 3.
I think that
The
Xbox
360.
had a hard drive hooked up to it.
No,
I
no,
never
no.
used
The original.
no the original Xbox, not the Xbox
No, you had to get a memory
360.
card.
No,
the
no.
first-
You had to get a memory card for it.
Yes,
generation
Okay, thank
Xbox.
you. Sorry.
You had to get a memory card. I never.
I did. So okay, so
I
let's,
did, but
let's
I
back it
didn't
up for a
have
second
one.
here. So Anton is 100% right. So the PlayStation, you need a memory card. PS2, the difference if you had like a lot of data, you could have get what's called a external hard drive. It goes to the rear of the PlayStation that you could have saved games. That's one option too. But most people just get the $20.99, $30 memory card from their local game store, plugged it in, and call it a day. PlayStation 2, same concept. Now PS3 and PS4, they were internal. The memory was more than enough. You may have delete games and shove some things around. Most of the times it was fun. I had the PS4 Pro, 1 terabyte, more terabytes, more memory you can need. Now with PS5, the games are like fucking 7,000 terabytes. Some of these games. So I have the first generation one, and it has memory, but you can add it's
And
not
dot two.
external. Is internal still. You just had another. You have another.
It's called an
What's it called? What's the
M.2.
word? I'm sorry.
It's called an M.2.
Yeah, but the word I'm looking for is different. Internal memory. You can add more internal memory if you want. You just pop the two shelves off, two screws, pop it in, screw it back down, and you're done. Then you turn it on. PlayStation does everything else. Very simple, very easy. But
No, it's not.
with the Xbox series now, Xbox One had a memory card. It went under the controller. That's the difference versus where we put it. Now, they were smart. I'll tell you how. Even the 360 wasn't one of the greatest systems. They were smart for one reason. They had internal memory from the get-go, from 360.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Not very much. Only about 300-400 meg.
But that was more than enough back for the day, bro. For those games back then, that was more than enough.
Yeah, it did take up a lot of
You
memory.
did not go through that. Exactly.
The thing I didn't.
Go ahead,
Peter,
Andrew.
what you were saying about
Mhm.
The Legend of Zelda, I remember back in the day when it came out for NES, me, my brother, and like three of my friends would take turns playing the game, and we actually had a notebook, and we took notes, detailed notes on how to get from the beginning when you started to the last known level we were at. And people didn't realize back then, and I remember telling like my nieces and nephews, when you were done and you had to turn it off and you went back to play, you started all the way from the beginning. So I remember you
Fucking
had
hate
to
about
like
it, Nintendo.
write down notes.
There's one game I can
Yes.
say. There's one game I can say. It's Lemmings. Yeah.
Mm.
Never,
Okay.
Yeah.
you never save your progress on it. Unless
Yeah,
you
but I
probably did,
remember
don't
this.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But they always gave you a code at the end of every level. Yeah. And that was also a brain teasing game as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was another game that did that. It's similar. It was a X-Men game. I can't remember what it was called. It was on a Super Nintendo. I think X-Men Apocalypse or something like that. Once you beat the game, not the game, the level, they always give you a code.
Same as Lemmings.
I'm sorry.
Same as Lemmings.
Yeah, I'm actually looking it up right now. It's called
Or
There were a
you
couple
X-Men
other
can
games
Mutant
too.
Apocalypse.
There were a
Say that
couple
again?
other games if I remember that did the same thing. I don't no, not Metroid, not
um,
Contra. There was several other games I think they did. Like they gave
Aliens
you a
on the
code
PlayStation.
down, and like if you wanted to get back to that level, you had to type that code in. And then of course you
That's
had the cheat
another
codes.
difference.
Mm.
The other difference about PC gaming, if you were a little bit of a good coder, or in other words, a hacker, you
Uh
could
huh.
have rewrite the code and make the game easier or harder for yourself, whatever you wanted to do. If you're good at coding,
Okay.
if you if you knew what you were
Yeah, I can see
doing,
that.
you could have literally rewrite the whole game if you wanted to.
But then of course I
Obviously, you couldn't
remember, of
sell it on the market.
course, though, one code that went around up, up, down, left, right, BA, start. And that was the 30-man cheat code for Contra.
Yep.
I was about to say, fun fact: if you say that to your Alexa, Amazon Alexa, if
Uh-huh.
that's like that, it actually makes a sound effect afterwards.
Are you
Mhm,
serious?
mhm.
Yeah, I'm dead serious. Do it. I am dead serious.
Keep it then.
I done it. I'm not denying it. So I found out this from another YouTuber called 1985 Gamer, and he did it. He did it with his Google Home, and I was starting
Really?
wondering, like, yeah. And it has the sound effects that, like, when you win the game, go doo 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 doo, or the music plays in the background. That's what it
Right.
plays. I'm like, I wonder if my Alexa does the same thing, and it did
Mhm.
with a
1985 gamer.
yeah. And if you literally say the code to your home assistants, it will
All
it
right, I
will do
found one
something.
guy, 1980s gamer. Is that him?
Yes, in 1980. I'm sorry, not 1985.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he has some really good cheats out there, like codes and everything. But back to the original topic, you could do a lot of things with a PC. I'm not denying PCs better than a console. I can't deny that. In the 90s and 80s, they were better. Is it good now? It's preference. I really think now at this point.
I think
I
so.
think that I
But
think
ironically, the
PCs are more
crazy,
superior.
Hang on, one at a time. Anton, go first, please.
I think the real crazier part about PCs back in the day, and I think Mr. Bennett remembers, you had the PC, but you didn't have a monitor, so you were able to hook it up to your regular TV.
Yeah, you could. Yep.
Good.
Certainly.
You had a little
Yeah.
board.
Before they started creating mine, because again, the older TVs back then weren't necessarily the greatest quality.
No, they
You know what I
weren't.
mean, if you wanted like a high end, like back then, like 10, what's that? 10, 20, 27 by 768, like that was sort of high end. The only TVs that even got close to that was, remember the Sony's, like the Sony
Yes.
Trinitrons, but they were mad expensive. Like you were paying $800 for a TV back in the 80s. I mean, it was like there
If
was
it were,
Sony and there was like everybody else. That was the only one that came close. But when they started coming out with
the,
monitors that started to increase the quality and whatnot, that also, I think, enhanced your computer game experience versus just hook it up to your TV or whatever, or console. The graphics, the picture was sharper, was brighter, and you didn't have as much flicker and things of that nature. So I think
right.
yeah, but now with HD TVs, I don't think it matters now. I mean, whether you get a computer monitor or just buy yourself a 32-inch HD TV, I think it's just as good as a monitor. I don't see the need unless you're talking about something that you could mount. Like if you want to get one of those arms, you had like 3 or 4 monitors on one arm or something like that, or but there's really no
Right.
need for computer monitors, which is why all of those that just like just like the big bulky TV, the monitors, they kind of phased out also once HD
Oh
started to
yeah.
take over, and you really didn't have a difference between the two. But I just wanted to kind of go back to I guess the longevity of computer games, because the idea is you're not so much dependent, like a console is meant to have one function, right? And when it stops serving
Right.
that function for you, you basically get rid of the console. Your computer can have a much longer shelf life because again, you're going to use it. You're using it for work. You're using it for school. You're using it for. So it's like the games that came on just made your machine more valuable uh, over the long run. But it wasn't like I'm just gonna just throw away my computer. I may upgrade it if I can. Again, faster components, more RAM, a better video card or what have you. But again, I'm gonna hold on to my computer. So I think the market for computer games, I think, was never in jeopardy. Certainly to the extent of what it was with the video game consoles, namely, again, the crash of '83, which certainly took a couple years to certainly to recover from. You weren't so much dependent on the hardware per se, or that the hardware could be upgraded. You could just keep using it. But I'm still going to use PowerPoint. I'm still going to use Excel and Word and all those other functions that go along with it. So I think it just had a greater. I think it's had a again just a different profile. Whereas with the consoles, like I said, they were so singular in their function that I could certainly see why, again, the money that you would spend in buying a new gaming. So again, go from Genesis to Super NES to N64 to, I mean, it was like a constant cycle where it was like every 2 years you're buying a new computer gaming system, And so I always thought that, like, I never like the Macs, because I was a big Mac guy back in the day. And so the Macs that I had those guys for years. And as newer games came out, more interactive games, I would just get the game and it would still play, unless it was a game that really demanded a lot of CPU or a lot of memory or something like that. I had a lot of life with the games that they came out. So I think that was certainly another difference between the console market and the computer game market. The idea was it was meant for you to hold on to your computer for I think a longer period of time. I didn't see guys replacing computers every 2 or 3 years the way they did consoles, especially once they started getting going in the mid '80s and beyond.
Well, when I used to build computers back in the day, I always built them so that they were forever upgradable or easy
Yeah,
to replace. About 4 years ago, I built my best mate's mum a PC, full-fledged gaming PC with a 970 Ti, 16 gigs of RAM, and a 8th gen i3, which is a quad core,
hmm
and a 1,000 watt power supply. And it's a full ATX board.
yeah,
And literally, she had like 4 RAM slots, multiple PCIe slots, and she could upgrade the CPU up to 9th to 10th gen CPU, and she
right,
literally upgrade the crap out of it.
yeah,
And I made it so that because the last one that she had, because she smokes, all of her vents were blocked and there weren't much venting in there. And I made it so there was filters built into the case, and she could literally just get the Hoover and just blow the Hoover straight, suck all the dust off the fence and stuff like that. So it's easy enough to clean.
That's good.
So I made it so upgradable. Her last one, where she had smoked so much, all the fans literally seized right up with all the dust and hair and everything inside it. There was no filters.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I personally think PCs are more superior than consoles. That's my opinion. Because if a console dies, you can't just go out and buy a new component for it. You have to buy the whole new system.
right. The only question I would
Well,
ask is how much of these components, because I think that's something you got to factor in too. I mean, you can do it, but again, if a new processor, for example, you go from an i7 to an i9 or whatever I don't even know what the latest iterations of. If that's hundreds of dollars, then why not get a console? I guess at that point, or a video graphics card. If you're talking about several $100s for a video graphics card, what would be the advantage then? I think back then, certainly the fact that you could upgrade a computer, but you couldn't upgrade a gaming console, the cost of it wasn't astronomical. I mean, you could certainly build a PC for a fraction of buying a factory-made one. That is true. But I don't know where the price points are
So,
at this
I gotta
point where
jump
you
here
know
a
you can
second,
spend $400 on a decent gaming system today.
Biggest
But
difference.
here's the thing. I'm gonna jump in. Hang on, a second, Greg. The Nintendos, the Genesis, yes. something went wrong, it was most likely not fixed. It was more cheaper to just get a new one at that time
Yep.
because it was like I think I was like if the system was like $299, for example, it was like $350 to fix it.
Yeah.
Send it to them to Nintendo to fix it. It
You
wasn't
had to
worth
find
it.
a place, and you had to find a place that could fix it.
Yeah, here in the States now, at least here, I can't speak about UK, Greg. Here in the States, they're all over the place. If something goes wrong with my PlayStation, I go on to repair shops. It costs me not even half. It probably cost me maybe $80 to fix my system now. Maybe if I'm on a bad day. Now, if let's say my graphic card or a part of my PC goes, I'm looking in the hundreds now.
Yeah.
Because computer parts have skyrocketed beyond. Like the cheapest graphic card is about $500 right now. The cheapest,
which is basically the cost of a PS5 is. You're basically paying that now.
a little cheaper actually. The PS5 is a little cheaper actually.
Right. Right.
So the consoles are still winning at that end at that point. Like I get it what you're saying, Greg. I'm not denying. I get what Paul's saying. I'm agreeing with both of you guys. As overall lifespan, I can do a lot more on my PC. I can do like in Paul's case, he works from home. He does a lot of shit with my PC. I do my YouTube channel through my PC. I do all my graphics to the channel, all that stuff. I do through my PC. Something goes wrong, later on, I want to upgrade something. I don't need a whole new system. I just change the part I need to upgrade. I agree on that part. What I'm disagreeing with you right now is something goes wrong with my PS5, you can change that part very, very easily. If you know what part is wrong, you can do it yourself. Just look it up on Google. And
the only problem with that is your situation on that one is on the PS5. I've actually seen a PS5 motherboard. Yeah, you've got your RAM, your CPU, your memory, your onboard memory. It's all soldered to the motherboard. Yes, it's quite easy to replace, but for someone like myself or yourself or Paul probably might be able to do it. But I wouldn't be able to do it. Would you?
I would just hire somebody instead. The money I'm going to spend. Hang on.
In the situation of myself, if your console dies at home at 12 o'clock at night, you can't physically go out and get a new part when you've already got a spare one sitting at home.
I don't have a spare PC.
I'm just saying, spare PC parts. Or you can go online and physically buy one off Facebook and say there and then, I want this part for my PC.
Here's the issue with that. Sometimes the part will be here tomorrow. Sometimes the part might take weeks. But again, I can do it. I can go, okay, my PC dies at 12 midnight. I'm using my system. I can go tomorrow morning, bring my PS5 to a repair shop and it goes, here, look at this. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with it. And they'll fix it right there.
Yeah.
To me, it's the same concept. Like, it makes no difference what you're saying.
Right.
If my PC goes wrong, I have to wait for the parts. If I can afford the parts, the question is.
Daddy, here we go.
Think about it.
Yeah, I understand.
And in a custom PC, a gaming PC, a custom, let's be honest, most of the times, it's not the parts, it's the software. And troubleshooting that fucking problem is more pain in the ass than you taking a fucking nail out of your dick. Think
Where
of
do
what
you
I'm saying.
get this stuff?
I'm a chef.
I mean, I just don't. Speaking of processors and CPU, I have no idea what your processor CPU is. The fact that you come up with these suggestions,
Analyses?
I don't. I was like, where is that? Yeah. I mean that is a very unique CPU processor
chef,
up there.
bro. Yeah,
So-
I was in
you
a-
know what? I'm gonna bring you.
I was in the service. Trust me, I've heard some unique ones too. There, okay.
Like,
I'm gonna bring you.
Believe
Come
I've
to
heard
work with
some
Pete
unique
Day one day.
analogies for my time in the army. I'm like,
I'm gonna bring Paul to work one day with me, and his ears gonna bleed half the shit he hears in
I'll
I'll
there.
tell you what, Paul. If he ever takes you to work, video it. And see
Yeah.
how, in the day of Peter.
Right. Well, but one thing I wanted to, I just kind of to get back to its core. When I was talking about computer games, what they were for, I think there's always going to be a need for that. Like we had a show a couple weeks ago. We were talking about video games in general, or gamers running out of ideas or whatnot, or it's like have they?
Sucks.
What's that?
Why a modern game suck?
Right. But I think that with the um and again, I don't know if these consoles even offer a lot of games like that people are rushing out to buy, right? Like a lot of the simulators or the brain teasers or whatever. Like I don't think, again, you're not going to build a gaming platform like that that's meant for speed and graphics and all that just to have brain teasers. But those will always be around. You know what I'm saying? Just like today, you still have crossword puzzles, right? They're not going anywhere. Or like I said, now you have like the word scramble games, like I said, on your phone or what have you. That's not going anywhere. I think humanity, I think, will always have a need for that kind of mental sort of stimulation or that kind of experience. As far as creating exotic landscapes and missions and things like that, I don't know. Yeah, maybe that may get boring. And as I said in that show, I think it may get to a point where I think, have we been saturated to a point where nothing entertains us anymore, right? The graphics and levels. Back in my day, back in Anton, you over 50? Are you over 50?
Say again.
Are you over 50? Are you
I
Gen
actually
X?
turned 50 in July.
Okay, cool. So again, for us, like I said, we remember when,
Yeah, I'm turning 50 in July.
but we remember when, again, gaming or graphics was very limited based on hardware and just the technology of the time. So you had to be creative if you want to have a game. Now you have unlimited resources to create games, but you still have people who are unsatisfied with the gaming. I think there's a
Right.
saturation point at some point where you can only do so much with a lot of these games, but the games that never die are, like I said, the word games, the puzzle games, the simulator games. Again, things that make you think. But it seems like the shoot 'em up games or the high end graphic games, all that stuff, it's like sugar after a while. Like I don't know if they're even meant to necessarily make you better or smarter or whatever. It's almost like it's like sugar. I mean, it just, and after a while you need more of it to keep satisfied. But like I said, for me, at any given time, I can play solitaire or I can play mahjong or something, and I may not win. In fact, I lose most of the time when I'm playing those games because, again, it's not meant for you to win game after game after game. It's almost like, solitaire. It's all luck based on the draw that you get. You can't solve every solitaire hand. It's not meant for that. But I think there will always be a need for that, at least for certainly for older audiences, which I think will also be something that I think computers or phones, for that matter, I almost put those guys on the same level now, in terms of what they would offer. Where the consoles, they're not even thinking about that audience. They're not trying to necessarily, or like when it comes to like kids' education now, right? I remember, well done, Anton, when we started having kids, that's when tablets started coming on board. And, certainly when you had those and the games that were on those had educational games for the kids, word spelling and, those kind of things. I mean, you'll always have a market for those. But I don't know if these high-end gaming consoles, if they're going to have longevity, especially if you're talking about with everything that you can do with these guys now, people are bored or people are saying these games suck. I think it's something in the mind of the gamer that just cannot be a thirst that can no longer be quenched because, again, it's like sugar. But educational games, mind teasers, all those type of games will always be necessary. Especially now, you go into classrooms, kids don't even take books to school anymore. Everything's on a computer, but if you can do it in an interactive way where they can kind of learn and be entertained at the same time, I think you'll always have longevity there. So I think computer gaming in that sense I think there'll always be a place for that.
So for me personally, with the gaming, it's not that I'm bored of playing the same games. I'm bored of getting crappy games for example, the storyline when Modern Warfare, the original one came out, that was a good story to me. These games, like, because everybody knows these companies know, if you put a Call of Duty game out this year or next year and a year after that, if it's shitty, people are still going to buy it because they like playing online. My issue, I don't like online games personally because I think they're tedious personally. So I don't play online games really.
Mm.
I'm not a big fan of open world games either because again, it's tedious. 80 hours to beat a game, that's way too long for any game. That's my personal opinion again.
Yeah.
Again,
Now, when you
you
talk
guys-
about online, what do you mean? Like,
You didn't like Green Hell then?
because I play, like, one of the games I have, I play Spades,
Mhm.
right? It's a card game, right? You play it online. I mean, you got players in different parts, and again, they move, so the moves aren't by computer. This is another person playing wherever. They
That's
throw
online.
out their card, you play your
That I
right.
don't
So
mind.
you right. That's what I'm
talking
saying.
about Call of shooting games online.
Okay.
I'm talking about because people are starting to do a lot of hacking.
Oh, you're
for
talking
the
about role playing
game.
games.
More Call of Duty I'm talking about right now. Because you know
Okay.
very well, Anton, do you play Call of Duty at all, by any chance?
I've played. It
I
before,
played a
yeah.
little bit when
I've
it came
played-
out
I've-
on the
I've played- I haven't
360,
played it
but
in a
I
while,
didn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on board with it.
Okay, so you guys
I
understand
played
at
it
least the
on- I played it
mindset
on
behind it.
Xbox and PlayStation. Yeah.
Okay, so you log on, you go find a match, you play, and people are starting to do a lot of hacks, a lot of
Oh yeah.
sneaky moves to it. Like, oh, you know where you going, spawn. When you die, you come back. In the game, you spawn back to the same spot. They just sit there and just start popping you off. I'm like, come on, dude. I'm like, that's not freaking fair. They should have been, something about that game. They
Mhm.
couldn't do that.
They did the same thing on,
Now they're
Raw.
finally fixing a lot of these issues with those, but the game, for me at least at this point, like online is not. I don't play online games because the community has become very toxic online. People start cursing you out.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Listen, I curse in my games too. I'm not no angel mouth
Triple
here.
rage quit and everything else too.
Yeah, it gets very toxic to play online. And I don't
I've
want
seen some of that, even in some of the like people use, like, call if they find out, because of my avatar or whatever, that I'm African American. I've got the N word sent my way, just in a way kind of throw me off or to get me out of the group or the game or whatever. So I have seen some of that, but at least there's no, at least like I said with Spades or whatever, like you don't have control over, unless everyone was just gang out to kind of put you out the game or something like that at their expense. You still kind of play within the rules of the game. So I guess I don't like I say, online gaming typically doesn't bother me a whole lot. But again, I'm not so high end where you're actually communicating with people, or you're in that kind of thing where it's like you're talking to guys in real time, trying to get strategy and whatnot. You got the headset on, and it's all like you're like with the group of people. I think I haven't been exposed to that type of gaming experience, so I wouldn't know.
I have.
when you get a chance to play with your friends,
Oh, I've
it's great.
played,
It's great. I'm sorry, Anton.
Really.
Yeah.
No, I was agreeing with you. Like when you get a chance to play with friends and fan experience, you're laughing, you're having fun. But when you go into some of these groups, and it's not just Call of Duty, it's Fortnite,
It's all of them.
it's
Yeah.
Fortnite as well. Yeah, like you got
Right.
some people that they just take it to a whole new level that's not even necessary.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
just go off the rails, and you're like, nah. It's like
Yeah.
it's not even. worth
Especially
it.
with some of these younger
Because
kids. Like, I
there's
don't
a-
know if there's been like people who've been like considered like deleting themselves over these groups. It's just like social media. You know what I mean? You can get into these rabbit holes with certain people or whatever and exchanging, and then so for young people, just like parents are afraid of social media and whatnot, I can certainly understand parents being cautious of their kids participating in a gaming environment like Fortnite or some of these other groups where it can get nasty, it can get vicious with people. So those are things I think you have to be mindful of. But what do you guys, just getting back, I keep going back to this, but are there any sort of brain teaser type of games that you guys play on a regular basis?
I did put the name of the game in the back, but that was back on PS1. That was many years ago.
Mhm.
Basically, you're on a platform and you've got like these great big cube blocks coming at you, rolling at you. And you've got to figure out which one to mark and stuff like that. Otherwise, you lose. You're in the air, right?
Mhm.
If you do mess up or whatever, these blocks come at you a lot faster, and you also lose a part of your platform behind you.
Mhm. Yeah.
So your platform gets shorter. So I think it's basically get from one side to the other,
Right.
and also earn points. Yeah.
Personally, me is Assassin's Creed, because Assassin's Creed, you do have to think before you make a move, because it's not like you think you're walking around, you find your target, you're assassin. No, it's not like that. It's a story behind it, so you have to go from point A to point B to point C, but you have to go through in a certain pattern, like a puzzle. Think of it almost.
Right.
So if you don't upgrade your equipment correctly, or you don't do something correctly, then you have to backtrack, and you have to make sure you think, you strategize yourself correctly when you do something. If that makes
Got it.
sense.
But you don't do like word
one thing I've
games.
always liked
I'm
with
talking about like
Assassin's
games that
Creed-
make you smarter. Like you guys don't do any of those type of
No.
games. Like I said, games that challenge your
done some-
vocabulary.
I played some of those games mostly either on my tablet.
Right. And I'm saying though, I think those type of games will
Like, I've used
always
those-
have an audience. That they'll always have reach, because again, you're stimulating the mind in certain ways that enhances you. Like I don't know what even with a lot of the games where you have to again find treasures and solve riddles and things like that, I don't know if it has the same effect on the brain as far as making you smarter or again problem solving in the same manner. I could be wrong about that, but it just seems like it's I think that will always have a place in gaming, and really it's in the phone and computer space more so than the consoles.
There is a game you can play. It's a memorizing game, but it's also to do with zombies. Resident Evil, the first 3, 4. You've got to go back and forth. So if you want to unlock a something, a locker or something like that, or you've got to unlock something that's got like pictures and stuff like that. You have to go to another part of the building to go and get this picture, memorize it, and then come all the way back to where you need to go unlock a door. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Brain teasers, them sort of things. Or memorize a code.
I mean, okay, that definitely works. Going back to what Penny was talking about Assassin's Creed, one of the things I've always liked about Assassin's Creed story and the timeline it takes place in, it's almost like an unofficial history lesson too. And I remember Ubisoft was going to come out. And I remember Ubisoft was going to come out Assassin's Creed, and it got a lot of people talking. It was supposed to take place. It was supposed to take place like right after the American Civil War, during the time of Reconstruction. A former slave comes back to America after the war ended, trying to get resettled, try to find his family and everything else. And of course, during the time of Reconstruction, a lot of the stuff that was going on. So he was going to take his skills as an assassin to go after members of the KKK. And that was when the time that group was starting up. And a lot of people, and they felt like, oh, why are they putting this kind of game out? It's promoting this type of response to people, so on and so forth. So Ubisoft pulled it. But I know a lot of people that would have bought it just for the fact that, yeah, I am too. But a lot of people were really pushing for it because the majority of the characters in the stories of Assassin's Creed, because people forget, they even did a storyline during the time of the Revolution. No one paid it any mind. During the time of the American Revolution, no one paid it any mind. Now they want to do something a little bit. They were doing something a little bit forward, still focusing on American history, but because of the subject matter, all of a sudden people got into a real big stink at it. Put it out anyway. and whatever happens, happens. But I know a lot of people
So
would have bought it just to see it.
if you remember who Achilles was in Assassin's Creed, the head assassin who teaching Connor, he was an African
Right.
American. So you tell me that's okay? A lot of the shit, that something stuff doesn't make sense to me. Like right now, Assassin's Creed Shadow, everybody threw a fit in Japan because they use Akujulu, the Black Samurai. Oh, he's a black dude, but he's real.
Mhm.
What the fuck? It's nothing. It's nothing. Anything bad about the culture. It's not bad. Anything. It's true history. He was a black dude who got somehow. I'm not sure the backstory how he ended up in Japan. He got trained as a samurai. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Nothing. But and you have to give the people who put Assassin's Creed together, because you can tell they do their due diligence when it comes to their research, and they find a way to put the story of the assassins into it and try to give it that accuracy and authenticity. So you can tell that they've done a significant amount of research they've done. And
I
for
have a
them
fun fact on
to
Assassin's
do
Creed.
something like this, and you have proof, and you have if that's showing it's accurate.
Mhm.
Say again,
I
Craig?
actually have a fun fact on Assassin's Creed. I think Peter already knows what I'm on about.
Which one? But you have a lot of fun facts about Assassin's Creed.
No, one particular one, right? And it's based in France.
Oh, that
You know the
game.
one I'm on about?
The twins.
There's a place in France that got burnt down, a church or a chapel, whatever the hell it's called, right?
Church.
And what happened was they lost the plans for the building, right? They couldn't find the plans for it anywhere, and the only resemblance of that building and the whole structure of it and every single detail of it was in Assassin's Creed, and they had to use that to help rebuild
Really?
the church. Seriously,
He's talking about Notre Dame when it burned down.
yeah.
Notre Dame? Okay.
Yes, they used the
Let's talk about
Assassin's
Notre
Creed
Dame.
game because
Okay.
they did.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, they did. I actually, after Greg told me about it, I looked into it more. They used little mini droids, and they 3D scanned the whole building from the outside, inside, every single part of it. So they had everything on records. So that's why when they couldn't find the schematics of the original schematics, how the building, and of course, I'm not sure what year the original building was built, but you're talking about hundreds and years ago that thing was built. But things got lost
Right.
probably back then. We don't have records keeping like
Or
we do
destroyed.
now.
Right.
That too. They have a bunch of wars come through there, World War II, their own civil war, and all that stuff. So
Right.
the only reference they had was the Assassin's Creed game. Like, here's a couple more other references about history with Assassin's Creed. When they did the Greek mythology one, yes, I didn't like the Assassin's Creed game. I'll be honest with you guys, but I liked the history of Greece behind it. It was to the point, straight on, point blank. Can't deny that. But it felt more like a history lesson than Assassin's Creed. Tomato. When they did Origins with Egypt, very close. They did a whole history lesson. Once you beat the game, you unlock a chapter that you can go to all these builds in pyramids, and it breaks it down a history lesson for you. Every little thing. So it's a lot of good
Nice.
things. It's a lot of good things about Assassin's Creed.
Mm.
I'm a big fan. Obviously, I have Assassin's Creed tattoo.
That makes two of us.
Yeah, I see it.
Well, yeah,
There's three
Assassin's Creed
people on the
tattoo.
panel who love
That's
Assassin's
awesome.
Creed.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Assassin's Creed, bro.
So which
And
one's the
I'm
latest
looking
one?
for. What's up?
Which one? Sorry, which one's the latest one? Assassin's Creed.
Shadow. Assassin's Creed Shadow.
Okay.
Been that one.
I've got the late one that I've got is Syndicate. I don't know which one that is.
Oh, you're behind.
All right.
You're behind about one gamer now.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you.
but really fast. Eric has a question for you, Anton.
Okay.
So I have a question for Anton before you guys close up the shop here tonight. What's the question, Eric? He's
All
talking
right, hit
about
it. What's up?
yo, dude. I'm telling you, like I think Assassin's Creed. all the games that come out year after year or every other year or whatever, I think they need to take a break.
Yeah.
And that's any kind of even PC
Trying
games.
to do too
Bingo.
I think the first three were pretty brilliant. You got
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. I think they were brilliant.
Well, they were. They were. That's why that was the golden age for Assassin's Creed at the time. If you remember, that was the
Yeah.
best games coming out.
Well,
So-
it was the fact that they had to go into this little virtual reality thing that goes straight deep into your mind and DNA or all that sort of
Yeah.
crap to go
There-
back to.
Fun fact for Paul. Yeah, here's one for you, Paul, because I know you're not an Assassin's Creed fan,
Mhm.
because you never played the game, and that's understandable because you're not a gamer. They're actually making a show on Netflix about it now that I think you may like, actually,
Okay.
if they do justice. I mean, because they did the movie Assassin's Creed, and that didn't do well at all.
Right.
That did not do well at
I
all.
remember
I don't know if you guys
I
remember.
remember
like the movie.
Hmm.
I actually quite like the movie.
Ew.
What?
the what?
You like the movie, bro?
I actually quite like the movie. I'm not
There
gonna
were
lie.
some good scenes, but it was nothing. It was nothing related. The Animus was different than what it was. It was like it was a lot.
Oh, I
missed.
totally agree about that. They did mess up on the animals. Instead of it
they
being
they
like
screwed up a
big
lot,
sword,
actually.
It's a big arm that attaches to his back.
Yeah, and
was
it
messed
just
up.
it was too many parts of the game, excuse me, the movie that game it didn't connect. And I get it. Movie and games two different things. I know Paul is going to go on a rampage if I continue talking on his page because last time we talked about it, he started screaming at us. And I'm like, and that's the
That is
only
not
time I ever
true.
heard
That is not true.
bullshit. I have the clips.
Played him.
Screaming at you?
All
The
right, I
one
need to go
good
back.
thing
and
I
look
can
for
say
the photo.
about, I think the one
Go
good
ahead.
thing about computer games that helps, especially with simulators, especially it's used. For example, NASCAR would use it for new drivers to help get them familiar with a particular location before they get to the actual track for that race. That was one of the things that they were doing. I remember during the shutdown as well online to keep things going to get people interested. It's also used. It's also used to help drivers who crash to see if they meet all the concussion protocols, and things of that nature. I know NASCAR uses them, F1 uses them. I believe IndyCar uses them as well, just for a lot of drivers to get familiar with locations or get familiar with locations once the season starts. Because especially in F1, they use different tracks. Each location it has its own soul, its own personality, and everything else. So there's no two tracks the same in F1. None. And I know a lot of the F1 drivers use simulators just to get a really good right before they get there. And even though they may have raced down it before, if any changes were made, what changes were made, and plus also newer cars being redesigned, so on and so forth, it's just all about familiarity and comfort.
Yeah, they do that similar sort of thing with war games like Call of Duty or Battlefield, those sort of games. The military uses it for
Right.
people have different strategies on how to play the game and stuff like that, and how they want to fight people. And the military actually uses it as well. I can't remember which one it is, if it's Battlefield or Call of Duty or something like that.
I think it was called Battlefield. If I'm not mistaken.
Most often, Battlefield is most often it's Battlefield. Call of Duty, like the earlier games when they were doing everything based off of two, and that was because of the popularity of movies like Saving Private Ryan and a couple other World War II era movies. It really told the story, and you really had to be accurate as well with the story and certain locations that they were doing it, because you wanted everything to be as historically accurate as possible, and the significant. A lot of the studios that put these games together, especially during that time period when it was World War II, Korea, Vietnam, accuracy was important because the last thing you wanted were young people playing these games, veterans who saw these games and were able to point out the inaccuracies. That was the one thing they didn't want.
Mhm.
So they took a lot of time to make sure that everything was accurate. Location from location to the weapons that were used to the uniforms that were being worn, everything. So games like that, you really have to make sure that you, especially if it's a historical time, you have to make sure to do your diligence first.
They were really big about that in some of the Call of Duty games, the early ones, World War II stuff, and
Yeah.
Battlefield. They were like, if you had to use the right rifle, if it was an M16, you had to use an M16. If you use an M9 Beretta, you use an M9 Beretta,
Mhm.
and they were humongous about that in the earlier games. Now they don't give two shits, to be honest with you, bro.
He is great. They don't care. They just
I,
get bored.
I think they get to the point like they know you're gonna buy it. You know you're gonna put money in it. Why care? They're gonna get the money no matter what. You know what I'm saying?
I've actually
That is
bought
true.
games many years ago that I've played. Um, CS:GO, for instance. I got bored with that so quick. I'm like, why the hell did I waste my money on this? Everyone was uh, hyping it up and stuff like that, and I was like, this game is a load of goody.
Really?
But
What game was
you've
that?
got CS:GO. Um, it's like another game, Fortnite. Yeah, I can't even stand the game. I literally can't stand
Oh, but for
it.
some
It's
reason,
too cartoony.
it's big.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. It's people love it, but it's just a terrible game. The graphics on it give me a headache.
Mhm.
It's just too cartoony. It's literally too cartoony. Yeah, and it's too violent. When kids are playing it, they shouldn't leave it. They should rate it
Okay,
18 or above. Kids shouldn't be playing it.
Mhm.
Um,
that
but
is
as I
true.
said, you've got a lot of games out there that are absolute pile of rubbish. Um, I personally, I would rather stick to playing Dead Space. You've got Assassin's Creed, Euro Truck Simulator, Tomb Raider, Green Hell, survival games, them sort of games. Rust,
Mhm.
that's another good one. But the games that I mentioned earlier, I just don't like them. I've got some of them in my Steam account, but I've actually hidden a lot of them because I don't like them. I think they're boring.
But you keep forgetting one major thing, Greg. You may not like it, but there's always an audience for every game out there.
Oh, I totally agree. Everyone has their own opinion. That's just my opinion.
That's true.
Yeah. I'm like, well, the
That's
games
true.
I'm
The
into,
thing
you may
about
not be
Fortnite,
into. Oh God.
Please, please no. That's the second person who don't like Fortnite because it's rubbish.
Go ahead, Anton. Just say it. Just say it already. Get it out of the way.
the
Rip the
crazy
band-aid
part
off, please.
about
Just rip it
Fortnite,
off.
the real crazy part about Fortnite, when it first came out, the game was so popular. I remember seeing a
Did it come
story,
out
and
during
you're
the
gonna laugh
pandemic?
about this.
It came up before then.
Before the
I
can? Okay.
think sometime after.
Before.
Oh, before,
No,
but
it
it
came
gained a
out
lot of
before,
popularity
but it blew up during it got really
during it.
big on
Yeah,
during COVID.
yeah, it did because a lot of people had to stay inside. Um, the thing was, once all the restrictions started to lift and people were able to go outside, it got so popular. I remember reading one NHL team banned their whole entire all the players for the head coach, the GM. It was the Vancouver Canucks. The head coach, the GM told all the players, no Fortnite, not in the players' lounge, not on the team plane while we're on the road. Y'all ain't playing it. If we find out y'all playing, you're going to be dealt with, which probably means they probably got fined and everything else. But they were basically not going to be playing Fortnite the season to the end of the season. Like that's how serious. Like that's how serious it was, because there were times when I think right before the season started, guys were playing it, and they got so caught up and distracted they didn't even realize how much time was passing. Like the coach was like, "Okay, we're not doing this for the whole entire season," and the GM agreed. So there was no Fortnite play for the whole entire season. All those they basically said, "Listen, you want to do it at home, fine, but here at the training facility, team play when we go on the road, at the hotel when we're on the road, not happening."
So
Like,
Fortnite is a
That
phone
makes
game,
sense
or is
now.
it a console game or or a computer game?
It's a console
console.
game. It's a console game, but teams have consoles set up facilities in their team lounges for players to keep themselves occupied and everything else. And of course, on their team playing where they're traveling, they got an area on the team playing where they have consoles set up for them too.
Now, forgive my ignorance here. Now, it's Fortnite.
Surprise.
I'm saying, is Fortnite? Is it a puzzle game? Is it
No, it's not. It's all you do is you just slightly build and you kill. That's it. A
You do
strategy.
what? You do.
Can't
It's
use
a
that word
smash
on
'em up.
Greg. Watch the words.
What?
So okay,
It's
so
a-
it's a battle royale. You build and you shoot back.
Okay.
Pretty much. You delete the opponent.
So it's a violent game. It's a okay.
pretty much.
Shoot them up, basically. What did I say wrong?
Yeah. What
you
happened?
said it. You said something about me.
The K
Oh,
word. You can't
sorry.
use that word.
Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah.
That just came out.
So, Eric has a problem. Does anyone here likes Warcraft or Starcraft?
I don't.
Don't know if I ever
No, I've
played,
never
so I
played.
don't know if I have a
Back in the day.
reference.
I've never
I've
played
seen people
StarCraft
play it.
or Warcraft, but I know some people who are heavily into those games. They're real serious into those games.
I found them boring.
Wow.
It's like
Oh, everybody's gonna go choke slam me through the screen.
But a
Probably.
lot of-
D&D. I find it boring.
But people love it, and they're making a comeback. You'd be surprised. There are groups dedicated to playing Warcraft. There are groups dedicated to
Yeah.
playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I know there is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the
Groups.
I've seen the logo or the cover, but I don't think I ever played the game though, so I don't have a reference here.
Paul, put it this way: Warcraft. They made a whole movie about it.
Did they? Okay.
That's how.
That's
it's,
right.
I
They
think it's
did. I never saw it, but I remember they did make a
2016 it
movie.
came out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it came out in 2016. It was it did actually pretty decent in movie theaters actually. Rotten Tomato gave it 29, IBM gave it 6.7 out of 10, Prime Video gave it 6.7 out of 10. It didn't do bad. It did decent for what it was. You know what I'm saying?
Minecraft's another game I used
Really?
to like playing. I haven't played it in a while.
Oh God.
These games, Warcraft, Minecraft, Starcraft, these games are games that you want to think. There's a lot of thinking, but it doesn't end. It's like a 24-hour game. So when you pick up, you keep building a character. So I
Right.
know people who love these games. They go into seasons. Literally, they play for like 3 or 4 months. Then they say, "Okay, I'm on my break now from the game. I'll come back in 6 months from it," and they can pick it up again. Because it's a lot. It's a lot. I couldn't get into it that much, to be honest, because I didn't have a PC back then for it. Now that's on. I think it's on PlayStation 2 also now, and Xboxes. I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. I might be wrong on
It's
that.
on the consoles. You can play them online. Yeah.
Yeah. So you get my point.
But it has a strong, like some of these games have a very strong following. They just do.
Yeah.
They just do.
Call of Duty is a good one. Another good one. Another one that has a great following. One of my favorite games is Devil May Cry. But the thing with
Yeah, I know
Devil May
someone who
Cry,
play-
one thing you got Devil May Cry with Devil May Cry, they don't pop out a game every year. There's only 5 games right now out. Only 5 for a reason. They let it marinate for a while. You know, let you play it for a while. The DLC comes
let it
out,
cook.
marinate it more, and marinate a little more, marinate a little more. Then about 6-7 years later, a new one comes out. God of War, one of my other favorite ones. Same concept.
Yep.
They don't pop one every year. They wait. And the nice thing about Devil May Cry and Assassin's Creed, I'm sorry, Devil May Cry and God of War is not a 80-hour game. 40 hours tops. 50 the most. I can get behind that very easily. I can get behind that.
Far Cry was a good game.
Which one?
Far Cry.
It was a good game. I didn't like it personally. It wasn't my cup of tea.
The newer ones that they did was Far Cry 4 and maybe 6. I know there's 4 and 5. I got both of
I
them.
did like the show that they did. Far Cry the show. They did a really good job with that one.
Never heard of it.
It's on Amazon Prime.
All right. There's also Metro games. Metro Exodus and that sort of thing. Those games are pretty good.
But a lot of
They
these
were
games
pretty
are
good.
made to build followers and communities and everything else. And the fact that you have people who are that heavy into some of these games, hey, that was the purpose. The purpose wasn't to try to sell so many. It was to see how many people can get to play it online, and that's where it really makes, that's how a lot of these games gain their popularity, is how many people are playing online. I remember some time back, me and a couple of people, and we made a list of games that will destroy and end relationships. Like, we made a list of games, and not all. Seriously, we made a list of games. These are the type of games, if you play it, it will destroy your friendship or your relationship. Mario Kart.
Oh, God.
FIFA. Madden.
No.
Call of Duty. And I think there was one more. I'm trying to remember what it was. NBA 2K. You play any of these 5 games, it will, with anybody it could destroy your friendship.
I think I've seen some. They had some. No, I remember seeing some Facebook videos where it's like the guy's in his room playing, and his girl comes and she's like in a negligee and all that kind of stuff. He's like, okay, 1 minute, babe. She just goes out. He locks the door and he keeps playing. So that's been like a popular one that's been out there.
There was one I was talking about recently, the short on YouTube, right? His missus goes, right, what do you want more? Me or the PlayStation? Basically, a PS5 sitting on the dinner table, right? He goes, can you go a week without playing on the PlayStation, or can you go a week without me and I'll go on holiday? So he goes, oh, that's easy, that's easy. He hands her bag.
God damn.
Yo!
I'll put it this way. I seen online videos. Like, the girlfriend or the wife got so pissed off, he won't get off the PlayStation. She takes it and throws it in the pool. Listen, I like my games, but if I had 2 choices, go bang my wife or play a game, I'm banging my wife.
That makes
Very
sense.
simple. Yeah.
Facts.
But one thing I do want to mention to Paul, because I know he's not into video games, check out the show called Fallout.
Fallout.
Oh, what a brilliant game! Brilliant game.
The show is even better.
The Fallout TV show.
Yes, on Amazon Prime.
Oh,
Season 2 is about to come out
You don't
soon.
watch it.
Season 2 hasn't come out yet. Season
I
1 is
just
already
started
out.
watching season 1.
Season 2 is out. Season 2 is out.
Is it?
Yeah, I've not seen it yet, but it is out.
I just started watching season 1. Yo, I started watching it and I was just like
What
the
the
first
fuck?
2-3 episodes, I'm sitting like, yo, what? Nah, this did not just happen. It's
that is
I'll put it
wild.
this way, Paul. I'll put it this way. Every time you think you understand the show, is going to be a new twist every episode.
Okay.
You like, oh, she's definitely got, oh, she definitely, or he definitely, whatever. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Like, and then you go, oh, fuck me. Now that but you have to watch it. That's your homework for next week.
That is one good show. I must admit that. As I've said,
Yeah.
I've just got
That
season
too.
2. I've got to watch it. But season 1, I loved watching it. I watched it about 5 times in a space of 6 months.
Wow.
That's another one. Wadi has a good point here. If you played Dead or Alive,
No,
Anton knows what I'm talking about. And
Wow.
there's some games that you're going to argue about during the game. Smash Brothers, another one.
Yes. Yes.
Never heard of
I
it.
forgot to add that one. Thank you.
I have gotten to me so many arguments over that game. Oh no, I'm playing this. I'm playing that. Fuck you, dude. No.
The real crazy thing about the Madden, and this is what happened. They had a contest where they had 2 versions. They had one for PlayStation, one for Xbox, and they were playing on the big screen at Times Square. And what happened
Okay.
was there was up, and the guy came from behind to win the game. Like it was left through a Hail Mary pass to win the game. The dude that lost, he was so pissed off. He dropped the controller, got off the platform, and just walked away. Like he just like dropped it and just turned around and walked off. Like everyone's calling him, like he's just walking. How angry and distraught he was. He was just like, I'm getting away from all y'all. He just like dropped the controller, did an about
Bro.
face, and left and said nothing.
I see people, Paul, people take the game so seriously. I seen people playing the game on a 75, 80 inch, 100 inch, whatever. I'm talking about like not a cheap TV. I'm talking about like a couple $1,000 TV, right? They get so pissed off, they throw the controller at the TV.
That's right. Look, back in even in the NES days. Now, what the game that would break out a lot of fights, especially at Rutgers, Anton, Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, I heard
Used to
stories.
have fights over Tecmo Bowl. Whoever lost, controllers would get broken, TVs would get broken, fights would break out. Because again, a lot of those games they were playing them for money. So it was like gambling. I mean, that was going on in this game. Oh, I'll beat you $20. I'll beat you right there. And for a struggling college student, $20 was a big deal. Plus,
Yes.
you had bragging rights in the room. So I'm just saying. So even with the older
Or in the
gaming
dorm.
consoles, the NES, you had that kind of you would certainly have that kind of hostility going on.
yeah, I've never heard of the game.
My cousin,
It's before your time,
cousins,
bud.
I
It's
think he
before your time.
graduated. One of my cousins, Mr. Bennett, he graduated a year after you. From Rutgers,
Oh yeah,
and he told me
Livingston,
stories.
yeah, Livingston campus especially, in the quad dorms or whatnot. It was not safe after dark. I'm telling you, when those games were going on. So
he was at Cook. He was at Cook. He was
Yeah.
at Cook. But he
Okay.
told me about he told me about them. He told me
Yeah.
about them. Like yo, they
yeah, no,
He said, "I stay
Tecmo
away from
Bowl was
Livingston."
serious. Yeah, because Madden came out, quite frankly. When Madden became Madden, I think I was already out. I was at 91, so I think Madden came out it might have came out just before then, but it didn't get big until after I left.
right.
But so certainly Tecmo Bowl 86 to like 90, 91.
Yeah,
That was like and Tecmo
Yeah.
and I think Tecmo Bowl 2. Those were like the two main ones at the time. And yeah, that was just a vibe at that
Yeah.
time.
But it was just hilarious because when he was telling me that, like, dudes getting the fist fights and everything else over him, so
Yeah,
like,
that was bad. It was
are
it
you
was bad.
serious? He's like, nah. He said, what was he playing?
Another one
like,
another game that people used to get into, not get into it, but getting a gathering was Halo. Halo
oh
back in
yes,
the day was
It was brutal.
yes.
it wasn't a game. It was like a movement. I remember people carrying their TVs from their dorms to different dorms. Like I never had to live in a dorm, thank God actually. But I remember seeing other people, helping friends of mine in their dorms, moving the TVs into to a frat house or a dorm, so all of us can play Halo. I'm like, it can't be that serious. Oh yes, it was.
No,
There's
it
another
is. It is. It is.
There's another game
Because I
you
think
can
Halo
play.
came out when did Halo come out? What year
I can look it up pretty fast.
98. First Halo came out back in 98.
Well, wasn't there another game before that? It was called Mist?
Don't know.
Wasn't that a game also? Mist?
There was a game that used to be able to link up consoles. Your old PlayStation consoles was the Command and Conquer.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
You can physically link up your PlayStation with each other.
I don't remember that.
Right?
Yeah, Mist was also an.
Actually, Greg, you're wrong. It's actually November 15, 20, November 15, 01 it came out, Halo.
Okay, I was wrong. I'm probably thinking of Half-Life.
Oh
Sorry, my
really?
mistake.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm thinking of Half-Life. Sorry, my mistake.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Okay.
You were saying, Paul? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, I mean Mist was also an early, sort of one of a high-end computer game that really started to stretch out a lot of the graphics, or certainly the power of the Apple CPU at the time. That was also pretty. I don't know if you guys took a look at that one, but again, it was like a puzzle game, but it had, like I said, it had a lot of graphics. It really opened up a lot of the capabilities of the of what computer games started to turn into.
So let me ask you a question, Paul. We've been going over for a few minutes now about multiplayer games, playing with your friends. Bringing TVs. Could you play multiplayer on a back then? I'm back in the day. So I'm talking
No,
about.
you mean I mean broadband internet. I mean back you get the dial-up days. No way. I mean
A
it's
choker.
like-
Remember, you had to hit the choker. And you had to pull it.
you
turn
had.
it
I mean
on.
this is before the internet, so I mean you didn't have you had bulletin boards. But the internet came out, I think, after I graduated. But yeah, you had bulletin boards. That was it. Forums. You had, but no, there was you just didn't have the bandwidth for that type of gameplay. I mean, dial-up modems. Unless you were on campus, certainly you could take advantage of the Ethernet that was set up on campus. But no, the global connection or the interaction, no, you just didn't have that. Like I said, all this interaction that we're talking about, you went from dorm to dorm. You were the coolest guy on your floor if you had a gaming system. If you had an NES, you were the man. If you had a VHS player, you were the man. You know what I mean? If you had a TV, you were the man. So I was like, again, I come from the. Again, you came from right. If you had the nice Kenwood music deck with the record player, the CD player, and the cassette and whatnot, and the tall speakers in your dorm, you would a man back then. I mean, like I said, we really
Kenwood, Iowa.
Techniques was another one. Techniques was another brand.
Techniques, Magnavox.
Yes,
If you
exactly.
had-
Yep.
If you had any of that stuff in your dorm room,
You were
Yeah,
everybody would be in your dorm room that night. If you had a video game, if you had a Sega Genesis or like I said an NES, your room would be full every night.
yep.
You'd have to keep like I got to study, I got to get stuff done. Y'all needs to go. Y'all needs to get out. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Ironically,
yeah.
one guy in my dorm in college, he had a Genesis, and one of the games that everybody was playing was NHL. NHL 90, I think it was NHL 94, and jokers were like trying to get in. Like he had a bulletin board set up for tournaments, guys trying to get in to play NHL 94 on his Genesis just because.
Right.
Like it was that ridiculous and everything. Like you had some people that had either the Genesis, you found a few people that still had the Nintendos, and you had a couple people that had an SNES.
Right.
And if you were one of those individuals that had it, you always had people coming to your room. And the way my dorm was set up, all the rooms were singles. All the rooms were singles.
Right.
And we had, I think, if I remember, on the first floor, there was like maybe 3 doubles. There was only 3 doubles. One guy had a double all to himself because the person that was supposed to move in changed their mind at the last minute, so he had the room all to himself for that whole entire school year. There were 2 other doubles, and there was a hallway that led to this one door, and it led to the house where the dorm director lived at. He literally had his own bachelor pad, and most of our rooms were all singles. So imagine trying to have 5 or 6 people squeezed into a single.
Yeah.
But it was ridiculous, and he found a way. So I mean, that was one of the games I remember was NHL '94. Everybody wanted to play NHL '94, and it was just like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But now, yeah,
I know you guys remember. You guys remember?
What's up?
You guys, I assume you guys had at least played a Game Boy at one point in your lives, right?
I never had a Game Boy.
Yes, my brother did.
I said you had. Did you ever play it? I said.
No.
So Game Boy had a special feature.
Actually, I take it back because I think my daughters had them, or they had some version of it, so I probably played it a little bit.
Yeah.
I had the very first one.
The Game Boys and the earlier 2000 systems, PlayStation 1 and so on, had this feature called the link cables. The cables were very interesting. You plug it into one PlayStation or Game Boy, and I play it. I mean, I played the shit out of a Pokemon like that. If I want to do U-Pull, for example, okay, I take my pretend this is my Nintendo. I link it. I give you the other side of the cable. You plug it in, and now we're doing it. And that was the biggest thing back then.
And for Game Boy, 2 games that people did that a lot for: Tetris, because not only you were able to place pieces on your screen, but you were able to throw pieces to your opponent's screen to throw them off. That was one game. Another game, and I'm surprised I still remember this: Fist of the North Star. That was a fighting game. I remember. That was another popular Game Boy game. And this is when they were still in black and white. And then there was another game, third game I remember my brother had. It was called, no, not Quark. It was called Quark or something like that. And what it did, you had a little spaceship at the bottom, and you had these uneven pieces. And every time you shot, you had to line the pieces up. And if you line certain pieces up, you know, it would disappear. And if you did 4 more letters, instead of putting pieces together, you shot pieces on to line them up. You got accessories to where you would able to speed up your shots, or you were able to freeze the board for a short period of time. So I think I remember. But those was a couple of popular games for the Game Boy.
Mm-hmm. Anton, what PC did you have in college? Did you have a Mac or a PC?
I never really. No, I didn't have a PC when I was in college.
You didn't have a PC? Really? Wow. No. So you just use the computer labs or something, or you did?
Yeah, I used the computer labs. Luckily, the dorm I lived in had a study room, and it had at least 4 computers. It had 4 computers in the dorm. That's at least had a good number of labs where you had at least maybe like 50, 60 computers.
And they were what, Mac or PC based?
Most of them were all PC.
Okay.
Most of the computers were all PC based. One lab, I think, had a couple of Macs.
Right.
But only a few people that were familiar with Macs used them. Everybody was using PC. If you needed, and if you needed your paper type, if you needed to type of paper and print it out, they still use dot matrix printers.
Oh, wow.
Had the margins. Yeah. They still had
dot matrix. Wow.
Yeah. And then
Rutgers was well ahead of its time then, because again, first of all, Rutgers was a major Apple, and because I thought that's really how Mac really took off. Once you had the Mac Plus and the Mac SE and those computers, they really took off because they worked through the universities, because they were very expensive. If you like, my first computer I bought was a Mac. It was $1,800 in 1988. So actually, no, it was not. In fact, I remember posting. It was like $1,900 and change that I paid in 1988 to have one in my room, even though the campus had a lot of Macs. But I'm a night owl. I'm up late. I'm typing papers. I don't want to be at the lab at 2 a.m, having to walk back to my dorm and take a bus back because again the buses stopped running after a while. So I always wanted like a computer in my room at all times, so I could just do my work without having to go out if I didn't have to. So again, you had but they were a major Mac base at Rutgers. They had Sun Microsystems workstations there. They had very few PCs. They had very few PCs at Rutgers. And even then, they had laser printers, or dot matrix or laser at best. I think the dot matrix printers might have went out by the time freshman year was over. You had laser jets all over the campuses and whatnot. So that wasn't a thing. I had a dot matrix my first year, but then once I got out and started, yeah. So I had
one of the things
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I still had a typewriter. So I had a typewriter and I had and again I had to I still have it. I still have it. It still works. And I still I haven't used it in a while, but I used it because a lot of times you have to type in forms, like the forms, like it's got the yellow copy and the pink copy. So I would just feed it into my typewriter, fill it out so it looked nice and neat and everything like that, and print it out. But I haven't used my typewriter in years, but it's definitely yeah. Oh yeah.
One thing that I did take to school with me, and my sister was okay with it. It was a Smith Corona word processor. And
what?
A word processor was basically an electronic typewriter. It was a combination of an electronic typewriter that came with a hard drive. And at the time,
I know the ones.
Yeah, thanks, Craig. And at the time, they didn't use the old school floppy disks. It used the diskettes, the 3.5-inch diskettes, the little hard disks. So if you were typing a paper, you were able to save it on the diskette. And I remember one time I was doing my term paper. It was my senior year in high school. We all had to do term papers. What I was doing was I was typing it at school, saved it on the disk, came home. I was able to pull up the info of what I typed up, and it came up. I typed it, put the paper in, press enter, and it will type it out for me. It'll print it out for me.
It's the printer built inside a computer.
Yeah.
That's basically what we
And
used
then
to
it
use
will print,
back
and
at
it
school,
was ironically, it was bigger than a laptop. It was a little bit wider and a little bit longer than a laptop. And when you flip the screen up, it was like this big screen you were flipping up, but only a partial of it stand up. And that was the thing back in the day. It worked because the good thing was it had a disk drive. So if you needed to print something, it was able to read your disk, and whatever you needed typed, it would type it for you. And that was just one of the things that made it reliable. And I actually brought it with me to college because there were times when we had to type papers, it was really hard to try to get we only had a handful of computers in my dorm. So a lot of people, if they needed something typed, they would go down there. And they were all taken up. They were looking for people that had either a B or word processor in their room. Into my room and everything else, wanted to borrow it, and I was like, sure. I was like, $5. Charge them $5. All right, you want to need it? They gave me the disc.
Holy crap.
And it still works. It still works. I turn it on. It's got
Damn, that really shows Paul's age, didn't it?
You're an asshole.
Hey, that was cutting edge back in the day, Craig. Those things were cutting edge back in the day. And I remember seeing one.
Dude,
Seriously, and I
back in the early
remember,
90s.
and I remember going to Staples. I remember going this one time, and they actually had a word processor on the shelf for sale.
I believe it.
And I was surprised that they actually processor, and you were able to get ribbons for it.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're an older, again, if you're an older person, you know, because there was a cutoff. I mean, you had that generation, that baby boom generation, that didn't want to make that transition to PC. It was too complicated or whatever.
Yep.
They were familiar with typewriters and whatnot, so it was like a hybrid. It was like a bridge to that. Some people, you know, you get to working in a certain technology and you just want to stay there. You know what I mean? Not everybody's built for, you know, the more modern thing. So again, I think there's always going to be an audience for that.
Sound like my mother now. Sound like my mother.
That's how.
All right, guys.
Yeah. Your mom probably needs 5% of what's on an iPhone right now. In terms of her, she could deal with a much cheaper phone, a much cheaper.
Do you remember
technology.
last time I got her an iPhone? What happened?
Yeah, she smashed it. But I'm just
No,
saying.
she threw
But
it out of my head. Two different things.
well, I thought she smashed it on your head. But that being said, but not everybody. I mean, my dad, all he wanted to do was dial the number, dial the phone, and hang up. That's it. He didn't need any other. So I got him this real old school push button phone when he was still here. But no, I didn't want. He didn't want anything that was overly fancy, and that was it. So I think you'll always have an audience for that. Just like, you know, just going back to the whole topic of, like I said, computer games. People still enjoy their crosswords, or a form of it. People still enjoy trivia. We never talked about that. I mean, trivia games that test your abilities, or your knowledge of history and whatnot. And you know, so I think those are things that have staying power. But I truly think with just gaming where it is now, based on that last show, I don't know what's left. Like I said, I thought that the 3D games where you put the eyeglasses on, the VR games, I thought that was going to be like the next frontier of video gaming, but it's not. It didn't take off, I think, with the anticipation that I think people thought it was, you know. So my thing is, unless we get like Star Trek and you start getting 3D environments where you actually put in, you know, real life, like laser tag. Like laser tag tried to do that, right? Like you would get a group of people, you will go to like a big laser tag place or whatever, you try to play like an action type of shoot 'em up sort of thing in real time. But until you put someone in an environment like that, I don't know how the human mind could be stimulated any more than it is, unless you start coming out with some kind of holodeck where you're literally in there and you're doing things and it feels like you're actually doing it. Outside of that, I don't know where the console games where they think they can go at this point. But but again, I think just like anything else, I think people are so addicted or still looking for the next best thing. I just don't know how much the human mind can be satisfied. But you can always stimulate the mind, and I think that having games, especially with education. There's still plenty of room for education with kids now. I mean, like I said, no kids take books to school anymore. I mean, it's everything's on a computer now. And even when you're in church, just keep it. Again, back in the day, you would get a coloring book and some crayons or something like that, and you made way. Now they in church, every kid. Now some churches be like, no tablets. We don't want anybody on. We just to pay attention. Try keeping the kids' attention for 2 hours in church. Good luck with that. So again, you have to, but I think there's always going to be a need or use for those type of games, that type of interaction. But you know, where gaming in general goes from here, I couldn't tell you, because I think people have gotten sort of fat and spoiled. Again, me coming from the 2-bit days, and still, you know, having handheld like the Mattel football game with the little red dots or whatever, and you played the handheld and went up and down, and you know, that was the bomb back in the day. So if we went from little red dots to these VR 3D experiences that are so much there, and you're still not satisfied. Again, I don't know what to tell you. You know,
Yeah, so let's say in our final thoughts, Paul. Do you want to catch your final thought?
I think I just gave it. So I'll put a I'll put a bow on that and call it a day. I mean, computer game. I think there's always going to be a need for, again, mental stimulation, and I think computer games. That's how they got famous. That's how they got popular. By maintaining that, they didn't get into the action space until relatively late, and they maintain a niche that for a lot of people that they appreciated and enjoyed. But compared to the where the modern gaming is with these consoles, like I said, I can't tell you where those what's going to happen. I think we talked about in the last show. We may have another crash coming up soon. I don't know, where people are going to stop getting tired of paying $500 for these systems and paying all this money for these games or memberships and not getting a lot out of them than they used to.
Only feedback I have behind what you're saying, I don't think it's gonna be a crash on the systems. I think it'll be a crash on the games because I don't think people care as much about dropping 500. They do care, but if they're gonna drop, they want quality games, and we don't having quality games right now, and that's the problem. Greg, do you have anything before we go?
Not I
No,
can think of.
Anton, last thought.
Yeah, yeah. Final thought. Oh wow. I mean, bringing back a lot of it's bringing back a lot of memories on console and on computer games and everything else. And back then, if you had one of those home PCs that you could hook up to your TV where you could play games, people wanted to come over. And this is long before Nintendo. And some of the popular stuff was either ColecoVision or Atari. And I remember playing ColecoVision when I was a kid. It was interesting. I remember playing Atari as a kid. And the one way you knew somebody knew how to play Atari, this was the joystick. It was a small box with a little stick up top and a small button right there. That was a joystick.
You mute, Paul.
Now, to his point, yeah, one button, one joystick, and one button. You didn't have 20 buttons on a controller to have fun with. So
That's
That's
gonna
what it
be
was.
a. They're right.
Google it.
I can't push back. All right.
And that's what it was. I mean, it was something that was practical and everything else. Once the console started, of course, Sega, Nintendo, it really got people into doing something totally different. It was something to keep a lot of young adults and kids occupied inside the house when they couldn't go outside. You built communities and you built like strong followings because of it. The one way what changed the consoles, what really changed the direction of consoles, and I remember Peter, we talked about it yesterday when Nintendo selected Sony to build them a new gaming console. Sony saw something that Nintendo didn't want to look at. Sony was telling Nintendo, you don't need cartridges anymore. Start putting everything on discs. And then at the last minute, Nintendo decided to renege and decide, you know what, went with it, and that was it. So now here Sony had all the information that they needed to put together a console, and people didn't realize Sony never made gaming consoles, but they made great TVs, Walkmans, Discmans, CDs, VCRs, and DVD players. So they found a way to put that all together, and that's how the PlayStation was born. And what made the PlayStation popular, you didn't just play video games on it. If you wanted to listen to music, you could put a CD, listen to music. You could put a DVD and watch movies. Once that happened, the rest was history. Because it was that popular. Because here I had a console that could do three things, and Nintendo was never the same. And what even made So, what even made PlayStations even more popular at one point as well, they were backwards compatible. Because if you had the PS2, guess what? If you had your PS1 games, you play on that as well. No problem. So Sony,
PS3 you could do that, but the newer PS3s you couldn't, and the newer
actually,
consoles.
there are some earlier versions. The earlier versions
Yep.
of the first PS3s were backwards compatible for both PS1 and PS2
They were the big bulky ones, yes.
games. And I know someone that still has one. Bought two.
I've got a PS3 Slim. I literally own one.
Oh, really?
Not the
Okay.
bulky one, but I own the thin slimline one.
Yeah, he knows what
Yes.
he's talking about. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, the ones that sit on the side. Once Sony did that, it just took consoles to a whole new level. And it seemed like, do I really want to own a PC anymore? Do I really need a PC to play games on? Because people start using their PCs for other things, for what we're currently doing right now, for doing papers, doing research, and so on and so forth. And then what the best part about what happened with computers, they got slimmer, they got lighter, and they got more portable. Laptops, tablets, smartphones. So computer gaming basically helped introduce not only gaming consoles that could do more, but what computer gaming also did was it found a way to make it smaller and more portable. So in some ways it is dying, but at the same time, it's still being used and still reliable. And it's thriving in certain industries. If you want to go into aviation, like my wife is, you get Microsoft Flight Simulator, you install it, you're there. Anyone involved in auto racing, whatever discipline, NASCAR, F1, IndyCar, you can do the same thing.
Euro Truck Simulator.
Steering wheel, pedals, shift knob.
They do the same on Euro Truck Simulator.
Do everything at home. That too. Thanks, Craig. So, computer gaming, there is still a use for it. Still, why it's still around, why it's not died out. Because it's taken what it did back then as entertainment and it's now using it for training and recurrencies, and it's helping who may have gotten hurt in those if they met the requirements for concussion protocol to get back in an actual race car. So there is still a need for computer gaming. It is still a positive use for it. And I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. Say, and those are some words we're thinking about.
All right. Let's go over a quick schedule update, guys. Obviously, guys, knows where I stand with video games. I think they're the best thing out there. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I love video games. But do I think PC games are a trend? They go up, they go down. They go up, they go down. I think right now is high, but eventually they're gonna go down. Great example. Pros era, 80s, they were high. 90s, they went down. Early 2000s, they were back up. Now they went down in the 2010s, and now they're back up. I think they go in waves in that department in gaming. But let's do a quick schedule update. Like I was saying before. So no show tomorrow, Super Bowl. So hopefully you guys didn't put too much money on the game. Hopefully no one loses. I know Paul put like about $7,000 on the game. I think he said to me earlier.
Oh,
Yeah. No,
I
I'm
haven't
joking.
put together a ticket for FanDuel either.
All right. But for Tuesday's show, we're going over dating in 2026. Why is it so hard? Yeah, I'm not looking for that conversation. Anton, you're coming. I don't give a shit. You better drop what you're doing. I mean, you're coming. You're committed now.
I wouldn't know because I've been married for 13 years.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
I've been married for 16, Craig. All I can say, Craig, put it like this. Looking at it now, It's
You guys are
the
lucky.
way it's going down. Yeah, it's good. And our friend Mr. Bennett, he's in what season 29?
Yep, season 30 and starts on March 29th. So we're wrapping up season 29.
Yeah.
So
So
a lot.
on Thursday, guys, we are gonna be going. Paul and Coach will be going over car insurance and car buying on Training Gen X. Do you want to say anything about that before we move on
No,
to the next?
no, I'll just finish the that'll finish the series. So we did life insurance, did health insurance. We'll wrap up with auto insurance, a little bit on car buying, and then we're going to go into some more personal content as far as really looking forward to talking to Coach about how do you navigate friendships, especially when you got guys who might have some guys went and got incarcerated, but they've been able to turn themselves around. How do you decipher between guys you can still have in your life versus not? He's got some interesting perspective on that. So, definitely they'll have some more conversational shows about, how he's been able to manage that. And then we can give some tips on how to navigate. So looking forward to that in 2 weeks. We'll have that particular show that I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
That sounds real interesting.
No, it is.
But also the
Go ahead.
purchase, like I had some ideas. Like there are some things that I learned a long time back, and maybe I'll try to chime in on that show. It's Thursday,
9:30. Yes.
All right. I'll
Okay.
try to
Yeah. I
see.
mean, if you got some, you got some info. Yeah, definitely hit me up.
Oh, definitely. No problem. Hold up.
And Friday we are having wrestling talk with the Spartan. I'll be there, obviously. Wally and possibility Anton, if he's not too busy, he might join us on that one. And for next week, Saturday show, Paul, this was your show, and we're talking about rogue AI, fiction or reality. Remember a while back you mentioned when you want to do a show like that.
Yeah.
So, except that, guys, this was Spartan HQ Network. I am the host of Spartan. Why is my name Mr. Benner? So it changed.
Oh, probably because we're logged in. I think it's the same.
Yeah, what the fuck? I just looked at it like, wait a minute. All right, let's try this again.
You are becoming more. I said you're my project, so you are becoming more like me now. So.
Shut up over there. All right, guys. As
the
always,
protege,
I am the Spartan. He is the president. He is my buddy, UK. Anton, as always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Good evening.